Welcome to Destination Deanna. I'm Deanna, love guide to all and kept wife strategist to the women I'm called to serve. Please consider my channel your self-help learning library for love. Join me every Monday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time for our weekly coaching gem, where I give guidance to elevate your love experience. And on Wednesdays at 1 p.m., tune in for Sounds About Wife, where I give my unique wife perspective and prepare professional women like you to become kept wives. So hit that subscribe button and let's start this love journey together. See you soon, my loves. Welcome back, my loves. Welcome back. Hi, I'm Deanna, the Kept Wife Strategist, and you are here on Destination Deanna for the weekly coaching gem. Let me get right into it. Let me tell you, this has been a lesson that I have been ruminating on for quite some time. I know that it is not the easiest thing for a lot of women to hear, but it's time, right? If we want to get to love in 2025 and beyond, we have to start having the deeper conversations about what is getting in the way. So welcome to Breaking Free from Self-Sabotage. And I'm going to cover specifically the top ways professional women block their way to love. Yeah, you're going to want to take notes today for sure. Hey, Toya. So glad you're here. Oh, come on with the Kepti check-in. Kepti Ashley is here front and center. Hello, beautiful. So let me start by sharing what my intention is with this lesson so that you can be crystal clear about my messaging, right? So today I'm going to be spotlighting the top ways successful professional women sabotage their own love lives. And I'm doing this because I want you to be able to recognize these habits, kick them to the curb, and open yourself up to partnership, the partnership you truly desire. Now, like always, with my intention, I also like to be clear about who I'm not talking to and what I'm not saying. So this kind of clears up some things so you don't have to waste your time in my comments. You can be in the comments with love, with respect, with agreement. Okay, so I'm not telling you to water down your ambition or to settle for nonsense. I'm also not diagnosing you as unlovable. If anything I shared today triggers you, that just lets you know where you need some attention. It does not mean you are unlovable, right? We've all got quirks, and self-sabotage is just one of them. At one point or another, it has plagued us all, okay? And I'm also not suggesting that you drop your boundaries. This is about breaking unhelpful barriers, not ignoring red flags. So let's be very clear. Now, I always like to share kind of like my experience, either like what brought me to this lesson or like ways in which I have dealt with this particular thing. This is a more recent story. So recently I had a special offer for guidance calls, right? And they were 30 minutes, quick $100. But I literally wanted to give people the opportunity who are not in my communities, not able to come to my events, not able to take advantage of my master classes or things like that, an opportunity for like, you know, a beginning entryway into working with me. And it's also a way for them to see like, okay, is she really this good? Like, can she really help me out? can she really do something in 30 minutes? And yes, I can. But really, the goal was to give you something to walk away with. So in one of my guidance calls, I was talking to this amazing woman, amazing, successful businesswoman, well-traveled, very cultured, um, in academia, like all of the accolades, beautiful, feminine. I mean, cool. But she's at kind of a standstill in regards to love life, right? She just can't seem to figure it out. She's around great guys. She doesn't have a problem being conversational. She knows how she should present herself. But something about just how the interactions are going, they weren't leading to anything. And, we talked about a couple of things and all of that. And I literally was able to point out some ways that she might be sabotaging her own success with men. One of the ways in this particular situation was she was friend zoning herself, right? Because she was so used to the business talk and, coming off a particular way in business, it was not translating. So I said, okay, this must be like a common thing. And as I'm looking around, I'm seeing more and more successful women. They are single and not by choice. They would like to be partnered, right? But they want a quality partner. They're not just looking to be with any old body. So that's the intent for this lesson today. For all of my successful business women, entrepreneurs, women in academia, if you are at a standstill and you're like, I know I'm a good woman, right? I could make some refinements, but I want to meet a great guy, a quality guy, a keeper. Please, this lesson is for you. We are going to get right into it now. Today's lesson is the top ways you are blocking love. And again, when I give you these things, they are what to consider, right? This is me giving my professional opinion, using my own experience and my professional experience from being a coach for over a decade, right? So I've seen these things time and time again. So this is what I'm giving you today, and I'm going to give you 5. So if you have a piece of paper, have your notebook, now would be the time to jot down the things that I'm giving. Hey, honey. Thank you for keeping the kids quiet. Thank you so much, baby, because they're home from school today and they're doing very well. Thank you. So here we go. Let's get into it. The top ways that you're blocking love if you are a successful professional woman, right? Number 1, hyper independence. Hyper independence, right? You're so used to handling everything on your own that you don't realize you're shutting out genuine offers of care and provision. You're so used to the I got it, I'll figure it out, I got it handled. You're already problem solving. You're already on to the next thing. You're not even leaving room for a man to come around and see something for him to do. You got it handled all. You got it all handled. I'm sorry. And I was researching because I'm like, okay, let me give them some statistics so they know that I'm not just pulling this out of a hat, right? According to the Gottman Institute, 70% of relationship satisfaction hinges on feeling supported, not smothered. So, and that goes both ways, right? The man needs to feel like you support him. As a woman, we need to feel like we are supported. Hyper independence literally gets in the way of a man supporting, right? If you got it all the time, he's like, she got it all the time, right? Men take the path of least resistance. If there's not a problem for them to solve, they're not creating one. They're not looking for ways to interject. So you have to be mindful of allowing assistance, allowing help, right? And just to give you a quick kind of perspective shift, if you have been guilty of hyper independence, the next time, and this isn't even in dating, right? This is just in general. The next time someone offers to lighten your load, they offer to do anything for you, say yes. Say yes. Allow them to lighten your load and then bask in that feeling of free. It could be the smallest thing. It could be opening a door, carrying a bag, finishing a task, whatever it is. Start small and start allowing people to help you lighten your load. Okay. Number two, overthinking every move, right? Chances are, if you're dating, you're probably dissecting every text, every gesture, looking for hidden red flags, even when there aren't any. You're hyper vigilant. You're overthinking everything. Now, Psychology Today reports that high achievers, that's you, often overanalyze potential partners, leading to stress and missed connections. And I get it, right? When you've been disappointed, you've been through certain things in relationships or in dating, you want to protect yourself. So I don't want to make light of that. But I want to say this. If I allowed my first marriage to dictate how I believed about marriage, I wouldn't have married again. If I didn't marry again, I wouldn't be here teaching you. Right? I wouldn't be living the life that I'm living. I wouldn't have been retired so that I could focus on my purpose. So think about that, right? You can't allow your past to dictate your future. It can inform your decisions, and it's okay to be mindful, right? To be a little cautious, but you do have to trust yourself again. If you're having issues trusting others, it's more so about trusting yourself. Forgiving yourself for maybe the lapse in judgment, the poor decisions, staying too long, all of the things that we all have done. Forgive yourself and move on so you won't be overthinking everything, right? And in regards to dating, right? If you are in that phase of overthinking, here's a slight perspective shift for you. Ask yourself, is this a deal breaker or a detail? We have to be able to decipher the difference, right? There are things about me that my husband may not be in love with, right? My little quirks and idiosyncrasies and things like that, but they weren't a deal breaker for him. So he took me with everything. And same thing for me, right? So you have to know the difference. Focusing on the bigger picture can save you from overanalysis paralysis. Okay. And I see a comment. Yep. Come on, Capties. You all know, like, we are in allowance. We are in a season. We are in a spirit. Like, that is part of our feminine default, is to allow. Come on now. Now, number 3, fear of losing control. Oh, I hear this so much. I hear women say, Deanna, it's great. I see you living the kept life and it's awesome. You know, your husband's not controlling. Like, you still have a voice, you still have a business, you still have your own personality and all of the things. And I'm like, absolutely. Why do you equate provision to losing control? But a lot of women are very fearful of that. Either they have experienced that in the past or they know someone who has. And no woman wants to be provided for and then give up her sense of self-control, her sense of actual partnership where her voice matters, her own career, her own ideas. No, that's not what it's about. So a Harvard Business Review study found that 62% of high-earning women worry about losing freedom in a committed relationship. And on a spiritual level, I believe that this is like a trick of the enemy, right? Let's get women to rely on themselves. Let's get women to be high earning and make all of this money and think that they can go through life without a man. Can they? Yes. I don't have to tell you that. There are women doing it every day. Should we? Not all of us. Not the women that want to be wives. Not the women that want to have families, not the women that want to have partnership. No, we shouldn't do it alone. So we have to release this fear of losing control and instead Feed the positive thoughts that you are going to attract a man who believes in partnership. He is a natural provider, so he is wired to provide. And he does not use that as a bargaining chip or something to hang over your head. He sees you as his equal. What you bring to the table is different than him. His provision is not valued more than the way that you contribute in the relationship. You are both needed in order to propel you forward and to make the relationship healthy and thriving and to produce fruit. Okay, so that's our perspective shift, right? Think of provision as partnership, not ownership. He's going to be enhancing your life, not taking it over, especially if you work with me and I teach you how to vet for a keeper. Okay, there's a comment. Okay, Toya, in my case, I was in an abusive relationship and it made me afraid to trust men. Also, he couldn't afford to take care of the home, but wanted to be the head of the household. Of course, because he felt out of control, right? And that's what happens many times with men who are not submitted to God. A man who is not a man who doesn't answer to anyone is a danger to everyone. I'm a firm believer in that. That is why it's of the utmost importance. Like before I became a kepti by means of my husband, I was kept by God first, which means I knew what I deserved. I knew how God said I should be loved. I knew that God is my ultimate provider and source above all. So I was able to, settle into this position as a kept wife because I had already submitted myself to be kept by God, right? That's first and foremost. And I knew that my husband was going to be submitted to God. And if he's submitted to God, I can trust that. Even though he's a man, he may make mistakes. He is not perfect. I don't expect him to be. I know that at the end of the day, he is accountable to what God says he should be as a husband. So even if he makes a mistake, he's going to make it right. I can stand in that confidence. So I completely understand because I didn't have that before. So I was fearful as well, right? Many women who have been married before or in long-term relationships before, we have to be honest about what we chose, what we allowed, what we thought about ourselves, right? How we loved ourselves or lacked love for ourselves and self-confidence that ended us, placed us in these sorts of situations. But no longer, right? You loved yourself enough to get out of it. You knew that you deserved more. You knew that you deserved better. And now you're working towards that, right? Thank you, Ashley. Thank you so much. Ooh, come on, Jesus. I said, Holy Spirit, have your way. I have an agenda. I always have an agenda when I start, but I always pray, Lord, even with my agenda, you have your way. Let me decrease and you increase. And this is, it's not my audience, it's yours. All right. So we are on to number 4. Dismissing good men too quickly. I have a number of thoughts about this, but I'm praying that the Holy Spirit lead my mouth. Lead my mouth, Lord, right? So sometimes we can be looking for what looks perfect on paper. What looks perfect on paper, right? The salary, the height, no kids, no baggage, never married, the perfect thing on paper is maybe master's degree, doctorate, whatever it is, right? Whatever our requirements are, we could be looking for that. But we could also be missing out on a match that we could also grow with, or a match that is better suited for us. And when I say grow with, listen, I ain't backtracking. I ain't talking about potential. We don't do potential at this big age, right? I am talking to women that are 35 plus. If you're younger than that and you listen to my channel, you watch my videos, good for you. that you are smart enough to listen to the wisdom of um, more seasoned and experienced women. But let me be clear, the things that I'm saying more specifically, for like not giving many chances and doing things like that, that's because we are of a greater age and greater experience. When you are in your 20s, there might be more leeway for certain things because you could grow with potential that is materializing as you see, or that aligns with you at that time. But 35 plus, we should all be pretty solidified in who we are as a person, right? We should be pretty clear. Even though I wasn't in this position at 35, I knew I was coaching. Okay, I was in this. I hadn't perfected it, but I was already in this. At 35, my husband already had his career. He had already touched six figures a few times. He had, get what I'm saying? You're pretty settled. Okay. So I want to be clear when I say grow with, I'm not talking about potential that has not materialized. I'm talking about two grown individuals that may have been through some things before meeting each other, where they are in a place of advancing, up leveling, growing more, right? From a place of maturity. And that's what I mean by grow. Let me be very clear. And you know the saying, like, we plan and God laughs. We think we know. We think we know what it should be. You could not have told me 5 years ago that I would be divorced, remarried, in an age gap marriage with, listen, you couldn't have. You couldn't have, right? I've told the story about how my husband and I, when we wrote our list, we didn't say anything about age. We didn't even say anything about race. We didn't say anything about age, race, height, looks, nothing like that. It was all about character. It was all about lifestyle match and alignment, spirituality. It was all about those things. And I'm so thankful that we did that, because had we have been focused on, oh, well, she needs to be a size 4. She needs to have straight hair, long. He needs to be 6'4". He needs to be my age. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if we would have done that. We would have missed out on this opportunity. So let me just share. Research from eHarmony indicates successful women sometimes end promising conversations prematurely due to preconceived notions. Have you ever heard, like, you're so smart you can be dumb? Right? Sometimes knowing a lot can really get in the way because you think you already have it figured out. You hear a particular thing and you're like, oh, nope, that's done. Right? I teach my captees to be observers, right? Observe. Don't be quick to judge. Don't be quick to act. Be an active observer, right? And ask good follow-up questions. Be inquisitive. Learn about how the man thinks. Get deeper than just the surface level, right? Because you wanna marry how a man thinks. You need to know how this man's gonna make decisions. That's what's gonna matter. So a slight perspective shift that you can make if you have fallen into this, like preconceived notions, maybe dismissing good men too quickly, having preconceived notions. Good men aren't always wrapped in the package you imagined. And no, I'm not saying ugly. Ain't nobody over here advocating for ugly, because I don't know how you're going to submit and be happy. You see me, I'm not here under duress. I'm not having a hard time making love to my husband or being happy. You need to be attracted to them. Okay. So don't even come over here with that. I'm just saying, stay open. Stay open and be more into how a man treats you, how a man shows up for you, his character. Then, the physical attraction can be secondary. It can be secondary. I'm sorry, y'all going off in the comments. Let me get here. Amen, honey. Telling Toya. Yes. Yep. You're welcome, Toya. So now let's get on to the fifth, and this is the final one, right? Fifth and final one. These are the top ways that you may be blocking love if you are a successful professional woman. The fifth one is equating receiving with weakness. When I tell you, I did not think I was going to have to talk about provision this much. I just assumed all women wanted to be provided for. I just thought that was the easiest part of my work. I did not think there was going to be so much resistance around receiving and provision. And then God showed me so many women that have been hurt, that have been in situations where they could not depend on people. And they have gotten to a space of protection of themselves. They have strengthened themselves in a way that now provision and receiving just seems weak to them. They're wearing their strength and their ability to just do it themselves as a badge of honor instead. I've also seen that a lot of these women feel that letting someone do things for you means that you're no longer strong. It's like you're relinquishing your strength when you do that. And as like being a capable woman, you pride yourself on being strong. I have so much to say about this, but I'm going to stick to what I'm allowed to say in this moment. Allowing someone to pour into you is a form of strength. Allowing, it takes strength to allow because you're trusting someone else instead of just relying on yourself. That takes extreme strength, just not brute force. Women, I'm going to teach you all how strong we are in our feminine posture. I'm going to teach you that being feminine is not for the weak. Actually, it's a whole lot easier to just do it yourself. You don't have to account for anyone else's thoughts. You don't have to trust. You don't have to relinquish fear. You don't have to do any of those things because you got it. Receiving, allowing, being feminine, that takes the ultimate amount of strength. Okay, so I would like you all to have a shift in your perspective, right? Allowing someone to pour into you, allowing someone to give to you and receiving, that's a form of strength. It's recognizing that you deserve to receive as much as you give. As much as you give to others, as much as you're there for them, you deserve for others to do that for you. And let me just say, a study in the Journal of Vocational Behavior found that women who accept help when needed often report higher career satisfaction and relationship stability. You're a better team player. You are a better team player. And let me just tell you, another cheat code for success in business and career. You're going to get further being a woman, not moonlighting as a man. Because guess what? Yes, you can do a lot of the same things, but they are not innate to you. Your femininity is, and there's a feminine way to do everything. So in every position that you're in, every career, every field, there's a feminine way to do it. You do not have to be masculine in order to be successful, to have money, or any of the things. All right. So, a quick recap of today's lesson, which is top ways you're blocking love. Number one is hyper independence. Hyper independence. And instead of remaining in that state, we are going to allow, right? When someone offers to lighten our load, we're going to say yes. Number two, overthinking every move. Instead of having analysis paralysis, we are going to start asking ourselves, is this a deal breaker or is it just a detail? Right? Number three, the fear of losing control. We are reframing how we see provision. It is no longer ownership, it is partnership, right? It's not taking over our life, it's enhancing it. Number four, dismissing good men too quickly. Well, our shift here is understanding that good men aren't always wrapped in the package that we think it should. They're not always coming the way that we think it should. We are now going to be open. And number five, equating receiving with weakness. We know that receiving is feminine. We know that there is such a thing as feminine strength, and that is when we allow, when we receive. That is the ultimate strength, okay? Now, for you to be able to put this lesson into play now, these are the things I want you to ask yourself from this lesson, right? You don't have me as a coach, so you're going to have to do it yourself, right? So here's your self-reflection and your journal prompts. There's three of them. Which of these sabotage triggers hits closest to home and why? Which of these sabotage triggers hits closest to home and why? Number two, am I turning down support or love just to prove I don't need anyone? Am I turning down support or love just to prove I don't need anyone? And number three, how might my life improve if I replaced resistance with receptiveness? How might my life improve if I replaced resistance with receptiveness? So that's what I want you to reflect on, journal it out. If you are a journaler, you're my people, you probably are. And here's the coaching gem that I'm going to leave you with, right? This is the overall summary of the lesson. If you don't get anything else, get this, right? Ladies, future kept these to some of you. Stop building a fortress around your heart just to prove you can stand alone. If you really want a keeper, let him through the gate. Don't block the entrance with your own doubts. Watch this lesson as many times as you need to. And if you watched and you were inspired, especially when I started talking about femininity and how that actually is a strength, I want to invite you to take this lesson further. You can take this lesson further by taking advantage of my Find Your Feminine special that I'm going to be running until February 15th, until after Valentine's Day. You know, this is like the season of love. So go to destinationdiana.com, click on the top banner, and access my Find Your Feminine interactive series. So it's a series of 6 videos that's going to give you the how to define femininity for yourself. So I'm going to walk you through some characteristics. I want you to feel encouraged that femininity is not just wearing pink, having ruffles, wearing heels, putting on makeup. That is outward appearance. Yes, it matters. Yes, it can be seen as feminine, but that's not really what femininity is about. We have to get to the core essence of it, right? So I'm going to help you identify where you lost it. I'm going to help you define it for yourself. I'm going to tell you how it shows up in relationships so you can be equipped to actually live out this newfound femininity. I'm going to actually tell you why men love feminine women and tell you the bonuses so you can be encouraged and have a strong why, right? And no, men are not the end all be all for femininity. But listen, if you're watching me, more than likely you want a man. Okay, so let's stop pretending about that. Okay. And then finally, I'm going to give you a step by step plan for how to follow a man's lead. This is specifically for my hyper independent, my super successful career and business women. I relate. So, yes, I can give you the how to plan, and it's very simple and it works. And it works. So, in this complete package of Find Your Feminine, you literally have everything you need to either build your femininity, build your feminine foundation or strengthen it. Okay. And the women in my community, my Kepties, they swear by this, right? All of them have been through the Find Your Feminine series and they all rewatch it. It has real lifetime value. And in addition to the 6 videos, I also give you a digital companion workbook that actually has activities. So as you learn the lesson, you can actually journal it out. There's journal prompts and there's activities. So you know that you're actually getting the lesson. Now, here's the special part, right? That's just the regular Find Your Feminine offering that I have for a nominal cost of only $500. You're getting 6 lessons from me and a workbook. But from now until February 15th, once you complete the Find Your Feminine series, you actually get a call with me. You're going to get a micro guidance call with me, a 30-minute call with me, no additional charge, where we're going to talk about your femininity journey, right? I'm going to answer any questions that you have, give you further strategy to keep going to apply the lessons. So listen, go to my website, destinationdiana.com. Go ahead, find your feminine, okay? Take advantage of the special. And if you are not aware, tune in on Wednesday, right? For Sounds About Wife. That is where I'm specifically talking to my wives and my wives in waiting. Well, not waiting. I'm sorry. My wives in preparation. Because we don't wait. We prepare and we expect. But I love you all. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of this week's coaching gem, right? Remember, God is love. We are of God. So attracting love should be easy, especially when you have me as your guide. I love you all. See you next week or Wednesday if you're tuning in to Sounds About Why.